Hey guys, this is Louis back with another episode of The Development. Today I have Chris Camilleri with me, and Chris, how you been?
Good, good. Yeah, good. All things considered, things have been good here.
Good, good.
Yeah.
That's very good. I know Chris for a while now, a little bit, and today we're gonna be talking about what he does. And as you can see, his setup, he's a music producer, and Chris, tell us a little more about like what you do and how this got started for you.
Sure. So, yeah, I produce music, and I also work a little bit in film and television. And so, most of the kind of work that I do now is on sort of what we call the post production end of things, which is kind of like after everything is either recorded in a music studio or, sometimes in people's basements or bedrooms or whatever. I take that content and kind of run with it, piece it together, clean it up, help it to sound as good as it possibly can, no matter where it was recorded. And so I do that predominantly for music, for like pop music and rock music and stuff like that. And then I also do it for television shows and films that feature music or that are sort of music heavy. And yeah, I mean, I started doing it basically right out of college, or actually when I was still in college. I was kind of, doing my own projects and working on friends' projects and stuff like that. And then kind of moved to New York City right after college and kind of just took it from there. I had a couple internships that turned into jobs. And after working in a recording studio full time for 6 or 7 years, um, I went freelance, and now we're here.
That's very awesome. Has COVID affected you in any way? I know it started in March, and it's affected a lot of people, and more than one way with closing down their business or like production has stopped for a lot of things. How has COVID affected you in any way?
I think I think in some ways everybody has been affected by it, and I don't think that I got out of it scot free, but I do feel very fortunate that for the most part things have kind of kept rolling for me, and I think that might be for a few different reasons. One of which I think is that I would say that probably 60-ish% of my business before COVID ever happened, I did here from this tiny little room in Brooklyn. And there's another portion of my business that I do on site at studios and media companies and stuff like that in Manhattan. Um, and so that stuff definitely came to a screeching halt. When everything shut down in March, that whole side of my business shut down. But and that was scary, of course. But I think the other side of it is that a lot of the people that I know, both through just my regular business, all the stuff that I normally work on here, but also some of the people that I know from some of the jobs that I do at studios, all of a sudden had a bunch of free time, and so uh, I started to do some more kind of pet projects of people who have like regular jobs and now had some more time on their hands and wanted to like you know maybe chase one of their dreams that they had. I worked on a project, I did a full song production, again, just from this chair, just soup to nuts, for a guy who had never produced a song before, and he just kind of wanted to see what he could come up with, with my help. And um, he sort of recorded his vocals from an iPhone and uploaded them for me, and I downloaded them and kind of did the best that I could with them. And meanwhile from here I was able to put together the rest of the song, and it came out great. So it's on the one hand it was, definitely a shock to the system when COVID hit. But on the other hand, it kind of brought out some new creativity in my community of artists and creative people that I know, um, that maybe wouldn't have happened otherwise. So it was kind of cool.
Okay, okay. That's great to hear that you was fortunate enough to people like, you know, spread your name around, be like, hey, work with Chris. He knows what he's doing. Now everybody, it's all about being social and knowing what you're doing and being doing what the best you can do. Um, what made you get into like music production? I know like it's really like a big hustle and bustle when it comes to music and branding yourself and knowing what you're doing and like a lot of artists or like music productions or even like animation shows or just TV shows in general like really rely on you guys. So like what drive you to towards here?
Yeah, I think you totally hit the nail on the head by saying that creative people of all different kinds that are directing something, whether it's a song or a show or whatever, like really rely on those technical minded people to kind of achieve whatever it is that the creative vision implies. And I think that is a big reason why I got into it, because when I was a kid, when I was sort of like in high school, um, I'm sort of a musician by training. I played drums, but I also play some other instruments. And so I spent a lot of time in recording studios with various bands for, 5, 10 years of my life. That was it. And I never did any of the technical part of it. But I did recognize, when I started to kind of learn a little bit about um, the process of putting things down onto tape, as we call it, sort of anachronistically, that you really do rely on those technical people to achieve your vision. And I was frustrated a lot of the time because the way that I heard things in my head was not the way that things were sounding. And so I think really out of sheer curiosity, need, desire, I just took it upon myself to start, reading, some books and reading a lot of stuff on the internet and just trying to learn more about it. And I was in Boston for college, and I decided to take a couple internships at that time, still really not knowing what it was all about. Um, and basically, the first day that I stepped into a music recording studio, I was just like, "This is it. These are the people I want to be around. This is the place I want to be." And that was kind of it for me. So, yeah.
That's awesome. We a lot of people in everywhere rely on you guys. Like it's a big job, and I know that. I know I've heard stories like just on like interviews and bios that they work endlessly day and night just to get the correct sound or just like the right beat for these shows or music. Any of your work has been on like TV or like any artists you've worked with that like we would know?
So yeah, I mean, I think, most of the music that I work on is more kind of indie pop, so I don't know if a lot of those names are going to be immediately recognizable. I've worked with a bunch of celebrities on different musical projects that were not mine, just on as in a totally technical kind of way when I was working full time in a recording studio. My God, I'm having a hard time like drawing up names right now, but like Hugh Jackman came through there, Scarlett Johansson, what's his name, uh, Uncle Jesse from Full House. What's his name?
Okay.
Yeah,
We're so bad.
yeah. Anyway, I've got a photo with him, so that was pretty cool. That was a cool night. We recorded a song for a film that he was doing out in Jersey, and they were gonna film the scene where he was recording, where he was performing in a bar the next day. So he had a call time of like 4 a.m. to do this scene in a bar. You know, when the bar that they were filming in Jersey was going to be vacant in the morning. And they came in at like 9 p.m. to record the song that they were going to use on set as the playback. So that was surreal. I mean, we finished at like midnight and he went straight to set. So yeah, it was gonna be a long day for him. Um, yeah, a bunch of the television shows that I've had the fortune of working on are on Nickelodeon, and I'm working on one for Netflix right now. Disney. I've also written a bunch of music that's all over the place now. I had one summer where like I wrote a song every day for this media company in Los Angeles that was placing songs in a bunch of different shows. So they were generating this massive library, and so now I have like 200 or something songs that just pop up all over the place in all kinds of shows on Bravo and A&E and just all over the place. So somehow I've managed to kind of wear a lot of hats over the years and kind of stick my fingers into a lot of different pots. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool to just kind of be in the mix everywhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I hope to like hope to have heard some of your songs or even beats or whatever on any of these shows. Um, any artists you would love to like work with, like one of your dream, like just like if he was to call you right now, you'd be like, yes, I want to work with you.
That's a really good question that I was not prepared for at all. Um, let's see here. I mean, so my favorite band growing up was Blink 182. Huge fan. I'm also a really, really big fan of their producer, Jerry Finn, who, God rest his soul, died a number of years ago. Uh, they're massively influential to me. There's a bunch of bands from that era that I would love to work with. I think, if I was going to name somebody that's a little bit more current, I mean, I'm a big fan of Taylor Swift. If she wants to call me up at any point, I would happily take the call. Um, she's maybe shooting a little high though. I'm trying to think who else. This is like I perennially have an issue with this. Whenever anybody asks me, like, even just, hey, what are you listening to now? Well, I'm listening to a lot of stuff at any given time, and I can never, like, it never comes to me when I'm trying to think of it. Um, anyway, come back to me, and I'll give you some.
Definitely. I'll get back to you. Taylor Swift, though. My boy Chris wants to work with you, so if you're watching, Taylor Swift, come get my boy Chris. Um, so that's great. Like, I know a lot of these bands or just artists in general, or even like TV shows or anything, like inspires a lot of people to be like, I want to be there one day, or I want to do that one day. Just because like a lot of people follow their dreams or try to follow the dreams, and then it never happens, and they they fall somewhere else. And but it seems like this was what you wanted, and this was like your dream, your passion, your goal to like get to where you are now. Anybody like your parents or like friends like pushed you to this dream, or like this was all you?
I wouldn't say that anybody pushed me. My parents are have always been extremely supportive of, I've got three siblings. Everybody followed their dream, and I feel very fortunate to have had that. It wasn't always easy for me. I Full disclaimer, when I was in college, I was also studying life sciences. I was, pre-med, and was kind of sort of certain that I was going to go down that path for a little while. I was always totally in love with music and music projects that I was involved in, but I never really thought of it as a possible career path for me. Um, but then, my kind of interest in it took over my whole being, and so I just felt like I gotta try this thing. You know what I mean? And see where it goes. And there's always a plan B, I guess. If it doesn't work out or it doesn't feel right, for a number of years or whatever, then, you can always try something different. Um, I you know, I, I feel lucky because I managed to have a couple of pretty encouraging opportunities early on in my career that didn't necessarily make me famous. I'm definitely not famous, uh, but did provide me with a stable enough income to kind of continue to squeak forward, and provided me with enough of a sprinkle of magic dust on my ego to encourage me to keep moving forward. I don't have any family that's even remotely in this business. Now, my younger brother, is in the film business, and so we've kind of been having tandem careers, but we're both discovering it for ourselves as we go. So I didn't really have any sort of model in my life. So, you know, I'm in my 30s now. I would say that for the majority of my 20s, I was still feeling kind of unsure, honestly. Like, every day was a bit of a struggle to kind of, I was happy doing the work for sure. I've always been happy. Every day I get up and I do the thing, and it never feels like a job to me. It always feels like, something I'm happy to do. Um, but I didn't, I never felt whether I was doing the right thing or the most sustainable thing or the thing that would kind of, you know, be able to sustain me, from like just a lifestyle kind of standpoint for the rest of my life. And at some point, that kind of just dripped off, and I kind of left that in the dust and just focused on the work and being out there and being a good person like to my clients, and just really engaging in it full time and not letting that kind of inner voice that sometimes holds us back from just being fully in it. That's the thing that I would say is, like, if no matter what career you choose, but especially if you choose one in the entertainment business, you gotta commit to it. If you're not going to be 100%, 110, 150% in, then you should probably do something else, because you gotta have, a strong back, to kind of carry, uh, yourself, and take, a little bit of abuse, along the way. It doesn't always come in an obvious way, but projects run away from you. You lose jobs sometimes. You get paid way less than and feel like you deserve, and you have to do that. You have to keep getting paid less than you deserve for a long time, until people realize, or you get to a point at which you've got the confidence, and the work shows that you have the confidence that um, that you deserve, that you get what you deserve. And that's always a struggle. You always have to convince people, and I can imagine that in a lot of different careers, that especially ones that are self-employed, that's always a struggle, that you're always, you know, trying to set that bar for yourself. I mean, that's one of the challenges of being self-employed. That you determine what your salary is. It's on you. And so it comes with its challenges. I'm definitely I'm not the best business guy. I'm not at all a good social media marketing person at all. But these are skills that unfortunately, or fortunately or whatever, it's just that's the name of the game. You just need to, you have to learn that stuff. You have to lean into it. um, and if you don't, you better find somebody who's really good at it to take care of it for you, and then that becomes an expense or whatever. So there's a lot of facets to it, but I'm probably getting away from the point at this point.
No, it's all good. Like it's that's inspiring. Just to like know, like, keep pushing forward, keep following your dreams. That's what we're all about. Like, we're all about knowing the hustle and bustle and like the push that a lot of people need to hear. And your story is, you pushed. Even if you take a little cut of payment, like, you still push forward. You don't give up. Like, that's what the development is about. Like, knowing and understanding that, like, these you as a person or anybody that has like their own business or run their own job or freelance, like, they push. If you gotta take a pay cut that you feel that you're okay with, then, do it. Do what you need to do. Sometimes at the end of the day, you never know. Like, you may work here now, but you never know where that person that you worked with can lead you to. It's very hard, especially in New York. I can't. I'm not gonna say like only in New York is hard. Maybe in other states, but like, New York is like, it's well branded, well oiled, where like a lot of people just use the same person because they trust that person. And, to reach out to, let's say, you, when they don't know you from a hole in the wall, it's hard. But proving yourself is what people need to hear and listen. And if you're not for it, just like you said, maybe find something else. Like, continue maybe what you're doing, but if your heart's not into it because you're thinking of something else or your mindset is somewhere else, sometimes follow your heart, follow your dreams. Like, maybe that other thing that you're thinking of can lead you somewhere. It's rough out. It's rough in New York, but keep pushing, even with the pay cut. You just never know.
Yeah.
Uh, Man, you got me a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's for real. Yeah, I think that's definitely an attitude that you absolutely have to embody as a freelancer, and like you said, especially if you're starting out and you've just got that dream, like, um, any any client that you have could be that thing that leads to the next job. It could be the thing that makes you crazy famous. It might be, but it might not be. It might just be the thing that leads you to the next paycheck. And that's so important to keep in mind. I mean, trust is a massive part of why, I think that I'm fortunate to be fairly well in demand. I People come back, when they know that you're gonna achieve the result that they expect. You're gonna do it on or under budget, and you're gonna deliver in a timely way and with a smile on your face. And it's just, yeah, I can't stress that point enough. And yeah, I mean, some of the things that I have done that have been probably highest profile or have put me on the map, so to speak, more than others, have been some of the things that I've taken the least amount of pay for. And not necessarily because I got to work with somebody big, but just because that's what the budget was. And it was like, all right, well, let's do this. And I don't ever determine how hard I work on something or how much attention I give to a client by how much they're paying me. Every client gets the same, diligence and attention and whatever it is, because that's my brand. That's the thing that I protect, is the results, that people can expect, no matter who they are when they, employ me. So, yeah, super important.
Yeah, definitely protect you, your results, and what you work hard on, because this is you at the end of the day. It's not nobody else. It's just you. Um, you said you're working with Netflix right now. Any other projects that besides Netflix you're working on, or can you talk more about Netflix? I don't know. I know some things are sensitive, so
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I can't really talk more about that project. But yeah, other than that, I mean that's a show that's probably going to air in a couple of years or something. So the timelines are crazy for some of these series, but so and it's amazing now. We live in this era where there's just all this content. Whether it's Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, and it seems like these shows are just magically appearing out of nowhere. But there's so much work that's going into all of them, and there's so much work out there to be had. It's an amazing time, actually. um, Other than that, I'm just I'm doing a bunch of indie kind of music stuff, just indie pop stuff. I'm working on a couple of different projects. Abby Diamond is a constant collaborator of mine. She's out in LA. She's putting out an album soon. I'm working on a couple songs for her. Um, my good friend Jake Eckhouse is another artist that I work with. He's here in New York, and he's kind of he's sort of a pop songwriter in the vein of like Black Bear and Jeremy Zucker, and super cool dude. And we're just constantly putting out new music. What else? I'm also I just became a premium provider on this site called soundbetter.com, where you can just hire freelancers to work on your music. And a lot of my friends, particularly ones that I have out in Los Angeles, have really been having a good experience working through this portal. So it kind of starts to do some of the administrative work for you, like helping you to get jobs and taking care of the payment stuff, so that payments happen on time and they're fully funded before any project takes off. So, some of the downsides of being a freelancer sometimes is chasing paychecks and dealing with clients that kind of disappear sometimes. And so it sort of helps to protect you from that a little bit. And so, yeah, soundbetter.com is another avenue that I've just started kind of exploring, and it's been good so far. So, there's a bunch of pots kind of brewing.
that's great. That's brand yourself. That's all we can do at the end of the day, because a lot of things have stopped due to the pandemic and everything. But your name gets thrown out, and that's always a good thing. And congrats on a lot of the projects you still have and working on, and hopefully I get to hear it, or I see your name pop up, and I'll be like, I know that guy. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime TV, YouTube TV. That's Disney Plus. HBO Max is coming out soon, or is out already. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a lot. It's too much to keep track
Yeah,
of now.
yeah. Guys, put the subscriptions together, because
Yeah, who would have thought? Like, now they're gonna come up with some bundle where all your subscriptions get tied into one thing, and then it's like, oh wait, we had that. That was called cable TV. Like.
yeah, it's hard now. Like, and a lot of people don't use cable. I don't use cable personally. I'm all about. I got a smart TV. I got an Apple TV box thing, and I have all my subscriptions there, and
That's all you need.
that's really all you need. Like, even if like you missed a show, or like you can't watch the show now because of cable, it'll lead somewhere. It'll definitely lead somewhere, and you're just like, I'm caught up, even though I'm a few months late. What are you listening to now? What are you reading now that like you're like inspired to like keep pushing more, or like you're like, I want to be here, or like what's your main goal towards the end of all this?
I wish I could provide something a little bit more poetic, because normally my head is a little bit more in an inspirational place. But so right now, I'm squarely focused on just trying to make sure that I can responsibly move, my studio and my home to a bigger place. And yeah, sometimes the focus is just squarely on what that next goal is in your life, that you need to accomplish, whether you need to buy a car or, uh, you know, pay for your kids to go to school or whatever it is. Hopefully that's not your number one kind of obsession. I think I would be kind of unhappy if I was always obsessed about money and making the dollar. I think that life is bigger than that. You got to enjoy. You got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy your work and the people that are around you, and have your hobbies and whatever. But right now, I feel like I'm trying to climb that mountain, and so that's my goal. My goal is to move, get a bigger studio, be able to kind of accomplish some of the goals that I have with that, and kind of do some more stuff musically and that kind of thing. And yeah, that's what it is.
Right. That's awesome. Goals is the end game of everybody's either dream or just whatever. Like you need goals, 10-year goals, 5-year goals. Before you're even old with retirement, like you just need goals so like you're living comfortably at the end of the day. Um, do you play any instruments? I see you got some guitars here. I know you say you play drums when you was younger. Do you still practice or like do you play any other instruments?
So yeah, I still play a little bit. I have to say I haven't played drums in a few years, and that's terrible. That's very very lazy of me, because there are definitely ways to do that in even in New York City, rehearsal spaces and stuff. I should totally get on that. But I find that more often than not, I'm working on a lot of music that, in this day and age, a lot of the music just happens entirely inside a computer. A lot of the pop music is fully electronic at this stage. So most of the drums that I end up putting into tracks that I produce, I'm doing with my fingers. I'm either playing them on a keyboard or I'm just manually putting them into place with a mouse. Um, I do play guitar probably at some point every day. If I'm working on something, that stuff always ends up in the music that I produce. I play piano a little bit, enough to kind of be able to fix things up in the computer, and so that kind of works. But yeah, I think it still is very valuable, even if you're a music producer, to be able to play at least one instrument really well, and because I think it both informs the style and the way that you then approach a full production, but it also helps you to communicate with other musicians, and to get into a room with another musician, which unfortunately is a little bit hard to do right at this second, because of everything that's going on. But when you do get into a room with another musician, you have something that you can, give of yourself. If they're a singer, then you can sit there with a guitar or with a keyboard and accompany them and just kind of work through the song. Or if they're a guitarist, then you can sit at the drum kit and kind of hash out where the thing is going to go, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's in this day and age, a lot of people are professional computer players. They work in Ableton or FL Studio or Pro Tools or whatever, and that's totally cool, and it's really valuable, and that's the way that music is absolutely being made. 95% of everything that's on the radio, maybe with the exception of like Adele and Hosier or somebody like that. Like you'd need a computer to make stuff, but it's still super super important to be able to speak that language and kind of be able to participate in that way.
That's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Any final words? Any like something inspirational you want to tell somebody out there? Um, that last final question. Who else would you want to work with?
Oh yeah.
Um, who?
Oh man, I'm gonna get roasted for not I'll follow up with this and maybe we can tag all of the people that I would love to work with in the post or something like that because my mind is just running blank right now. I don't think that I'm particularly good with inspirational words, but there's a I'm like as I said, I'm in the process of moving right now, but there's normally on my wall a little piece of artwork that sits right next to my desk that says "Make yourself proud," and that's something that I try to carry into every day. The minute that I get up and sit at my computer to start working, the minute that I think about how I'm going to respond to somebody's email, sometimes the message that you get from a client is not necessarily something that makes you very happy. Maybe they decide they want to work with somebody else. Maybe they cut the budget. Maybe they come back with a bunch of notes that you disagree with, whatever. At the end of the day, you still need to be a professional, and so that's something that I always keep in mind is just make yourself proud, hold yourself in the way that, you want to be seen in the world. So.
That's that's very awesome. Neighbor, make yourself proud. That's the only thing you can do. Don't let nothing stress you. No matter if you're working for yourself, working for a big company, working for a small business, like if it makes you happy, keep doing it. If not, maybe it's time to find something else. Who knows? Sometimes, or maybe find another location. You just never know. Where can they find you, Chris? I know you're on Instagram. I'm not too sure where else you're on, but where can they find you?
Yeah, all the usual places. Instagram. Actually, I'm not on TikTok. I feel like I'm maybe a little bit too old for that. But Instagram. My website is just my name with a dash in the middle. Chris-Camilleri.com. You'll find it might be one of the first entries on Google. Like I said, I'm on Sound Better. You can hire me there, or you can just contact me through my website. Yeah, and you can if you go to my website too, you can see all the stuff that I've ever worked on, and click on all the pretty little artwork of every album and single that I've ever touched. So check it out.
Definitely follow my boy Chris Camilleri. Follow him on his social medias. They'll be down in the description. You can find me at it's official at it's_official on Instagram, and subscribe and like on our MDMC Entertainment on our YouTube, on our Instagram, on our Facebook. You can find us there. You guys have a good rest of your day. This is Lewis signing out from the show. Bye.